Over time, AI will learn about you and it will learn what the impact is that you are here to have, and it will automatically bring that in. I very rarely have to tell it that anymore. But the beauty of this is it can really help you be so much more productive in everything that you do. Hey there, and welcome to the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. I am your host, Sam Hind, and if you are struggling to know how to keep up with your social media content, maintain momentum in your business, and take some much needed and well-deserved time off over this Christmas and New Year's break, then I'm here to give you some tips today to help you do this. Because the last thing that you want to do after all of your hard work this year is drop the ball on your social media. Believe me, it's like a snowball effect and it will impact you going into next year. But I also know better than anyone that we don't do well when we pour from an empty cup. And it's also really important during this time to take some time out and re-energize ourselves to get ready for an incredible year next year. So how do you balance those two things? How do you make sure that you are still keeping a presence out there without being not present for your family and friends? Well, I want to share with you a couple of the strategies that I use and have used over the years to maintain a healthy family work-life balance while going into the silly season. So let's jump in. This is a power podcast episode. It's going to be nice and quick for you. Some punchy tips that you can write down really quickly and implement straight away. So let's dive on in. Okay, so I've got some really quick tips. These are things that I do to help you manage your social media really quickly and really easily over the silly season, while also making sure that you're not dropping the ball on your branding, on your presence. Remember, people don't buy the first time they see your content. They buy the 8th to the 12th time they're exposed to a business, a brand, a product, or a personality. This means you do need to be constantly showing your face, and dropping off the face of the earth for a whole month or even longer is definitely not a good social media strategy. But there is great news. One thing that you will love to hear, I'm sure, is that Instagram in particular, and Facebook is following suit on this, have made it very clear that posting consistency actually is less important than post quality. This means that they're making it not a judgment parameter of the quality of your posts anymore, how many you're doing. Now, in the past, that was also a little bit of a misleading guide as well, because there was the rule of thumb that you needed to be posting consistently, but then people were over posting thinking that was going to get them seen. And it's also not true. You still have to post good quality stuff. Now, up until now, I've always said you want to be doing roughly 5 to 7 quality posts a week if you want to stay consistent in people's feeds. And I'm not going against that, but the platforms have said that 3 to 5 posts a week is way better if you're nailing the content than doing 11, 12, 20, as I see some people doing, that just are not of interest to anyone. So the first most important thing is know that you are posting something that people are going to want to see, i.e., know that you're posting content that the algorithm prefers. Now, that's a whole nother conversation, and I'm going to do another episode on the latest algorithm updates at the end of 2025 and leading into 2026 to arm you with this information, because this is critical to the success of your content on social media. But coming back to being organized, because that's what this is really all about. How do you save time? How do you stay consistent? How do you be in feeds without stepping away from your family and friends? So here are a few things that I do that help me with this. The very first one is you've got to plan ahead. Now, this doesn't mean you've got to sit down and spend days and days and days and weeks preparing content, but it does mean that there needs to be a little bit of preparation done in advance. And so the first thing I would say is sit down and ask yourself, what are the themes that people are going to come to me for? What are the conversations I'm going to be consistently having on my social media platform? So, what's my brand? What topics of conversation am I going to have? And pick just three things that you are going to be consistently talking about. And those three things should be things that your dream customer comes to you to see, to hear about, to learn about, to laugh about. They know that's who you are and what the conversation you're going to be having. Is it around food? Is it around family? Is it around, knowledge around a particular area? Is it something that's got to do with your personality? So are you here to humor people? Are you here to educate people on a particular topic? Are you here to provide value and inspiration? So what do they come to you for? What are the three topics of conversation you're going to consistently be having? And then ask yourself, how can I have conversations around these three topics over the coming weeks? Now, for me, if I know I'm going to have 2 weeks off over the Christmas New Year's break, and that's pretty typical for me, I'll sit down and I'll spend, say, 2 hours planning out some content that revolves around those three conversations, and I will schedule that content. Now, in the last 18 to 24 months, I've steered a little bit away from over scheduling my content. I used to be 100% all for scheduling all of the time. But in more recent times, with the rise of organic, real, human, relatable content being so important, I've stepped away a little bit from scheduling too much because I feel like I'm removing myself from being present when I need to be with my audience. So there is a bit of a balancing act here, but when you need to take time off, it is way better to schedule than to not show up at all. So what I would typically do is schedule in, say, 3 to 5 pieces of great quality content that my audience is likely to really want to read or see or absorb. Whether it is a reel, a mix it up, it might be a reel, it might be a carousel, it might be, just a thought or a quip or a quote or a reflection. Whatever that needs to be, I will schedule that ahead of time, and I will schedule 3 to 5 of them. Now, here's where the trick comes in here. I don't completely step away when I'm on break. What I will do, and this is tip number 2, is I will calendarize my time. So I will ensure that in my calendar, because if you don't schedule it, it doesn't happen. I can tell you this from experience. I will put it in my calendar, and even sometimes I will set myself an alarm on a particular day of the week so I don't forget, because I tend to get kind of, when I step away from work, I'm not thinking about work. I'm thinking about my kids and my family and the activities that we're up to. And we tend to go camping and do all sorts of fun things. So I'm not thinking about looking at my calendar every day. So I will set myself a little alarm that might go off at 12 o'clock on a Wednesday, for argument's sake. And I'll allocate myself an hour to jump in and just be present with my content for a bit. Now, I suggest that you do this 2 to 3 times a week. Just allocate a small window of time so you can be commenting on comments, interacting with people, showing up, because that's very important to do. Never completely step away. And create a piece of content in the moment. Now, you may want to give yourself some ideas ahead of time so that you don't have to do too much heavy thinking around this, especially if you're on break. So make life really easy for yourself. Write down, 5 to 10 different ideas. If you're a member with us, we've already given you all of those. So grab 5 to 10 of them, have them jotted down in the notes in your phone if you need to, and be ready to set some time aside, say 2 to 3 times a week, just for 30 minutes or an hour to check in, quickly post a post in that moment, and be present with your social media. And then you can confidently step away and know, I haven't ignored messages, I haven't ignored comments, I have done a check-in, but I also haven't ignored my family also. So I would also tell my family, look, this is my time. I just need to do 30 minutes. I need to step away and I'm going to go and do this. And I will give myself that time so that I know I've done it. So a couple of really quick things there. Just plan ahead, schedule some posts so that you know there's some content going out there, and then schedule some time in your calendar to come in, do a check-in on that content, and get one thing out there in the moment, and pre-plan those ideas ahead of time. Now, so that's the first two things. The next thing is aim to just 3 to 5 quality pieces a week. I've already said this, but this is tip number 3. 3 to 5 quality posts in your main feed. If you can nail that, you are staying consistent. And I think that's brilliant. That's all you need to do. And of course, if in the new year want to set up some campaigns and really go in hard, you can, but you are keeping active and you're keeping present. The next tip I've got for you is actually around being, I guess, still being seen and still having a presence, still using what's trending and what gets the best real estate, but in a very simple, easy, quick way. And that is to use stories and document without overthinking what's going on in your world. Stories is brilliant because you don't need to take a lot of time. You don't have to think about a caption and you don't have to make it clever and do all this editing. You can literally just be throwing up a series of pictures or little short clips of things going on in your world. The beauty of stories is they do get the best real estate on both Facebook and Instagram. They're right at the top of the feed. And anyone who's watching what's going on in your world will typically see that before they see the main feed anyway. So just documenting what you get up to, and you only need to do 2 or 3 of these a day. Just quickly throw it up there. Take a couple of seconds and do it. It doesn't take long, but it does keep you in people's feeds. So stories is something I'm using more and more and more of, and I'm finding the more stories I do, the more interaction I'm getting on all my other content as well. So it is a good place to show up and just share a bit of that behind the scenes. You don't need to overshare. You don't need to tell them what you had for breakfast unless it was really fun and really cool. But you do definitely benefit from keeping people in the loop with your world. So there's that. The last little tip I want to give you is actually one that I've been using so much over the last 6 months, and it has saved me so much time. And you've heard me talk about AI being a tool that is really powerful, but can also be really dangerous if you use it the wrong way. AI, or in my case, what I'm going to talk to you about right now is ChatGPT, is a really powerful thing to use to enhance you, but you should never, ever use it to replace you. So please don't be tempted over this period to use AI to literally create everything for you and step in as you. That's not the way I want you to use it here. And it's not going to help you either. It will work against you either straight away or in the long run. Just trust me on that. But the way that I do use it is if I take time, I would rather put the time into creating, a really fun video or taking a fun photograph or sharing a thought, but sometimes it could take me forever to write it the right way. So here's how I love to use ChatGPT right now is I've trained it to get to know me and my audience and what I do. And I really do encourage you to do that. If you haven't done that, start the process now because it will get to know what you do in your business, what outcome you want to achieve, who your audience is, and how to get their attention. But what I use it for is to just help me be more productive. So if I create a video or take a little photograph, I will go to my ChatGPT. I have a social media chat that I've saved in there. So it's learning every single time I do this and I will talk to it. It's so much quicker and easier than typing. Trust me. I'll hit that little microphone button and I will talk to it and say, I just took a really great photo of the dog wearing a fun Christmas costume. I'm just throwing something out there right now. The dog wearing a fun Christmas costume. And I want to put a caption to go with this that speaks into the importance of being present with your family. And I might even tell it, this is the outcome of this post I want. I want people to feel warm and fuzzy inside, or I want my audience to feel a connection. Or I might just say, I want you to create for me a short, snappy caption to go with this. Now, when it gives me a caption back, here's the most important thing. You need to make sure it's your words. So I will take that caption. If I need it adjusted heavily, I'll go back to ChatGPT. I'm getting it to do the grunt work, right? Then I'll take that caption, I'll insert it into my platform and I will adjust the text. I will make sure the words are my words. I will take out any overuse of emojis. I will often shorten it or add to it if I need to. If I'm like, I feel like it hasn't really got the point across, I will add to it. I'll take away from it. I will make it mine. This is the key. But it's taken away probably 80% of the work and the effort here. It is really important that you tell it Remember that people will not remember what you said, but they will remember how you made them feel. So tell it how you want people to feel when they see your post, right? I want people to feel connected. I want people to feel educated, or I want people to feel loved, or I want people to feel encouraged or inspired or courageous. I want this post to help get that across. Now, over time, AI will learn about you, and it will learn what the impact is that you are here to have, and it will automatically bring that in. I very rarely have to tell it that anymore. But the beauty of this is it can really help you be so much more productive in everything that you do. So there are a couple of really quick tips for you. Remember, less is more. You don't need to be posting 50 times a week to get people's attention. 3 to 5 quality posts a week it will nail it if you nail that content. Second of all, put it in your calendar. If it's not in your calendar, it won't happen. Run your time, I say, or it will run you. I can tell you, I've learned that the hard way. Next is definitely schedule some content ahead of time, but allocate some time to just jump in and do a few little in the moment posts, but pre-think it through. Have some ideas sitting there so you don't have to, when you're in holiday mode, start thinking about work again. You've already got some stuff saved. You can just add the thought of the moment in there, or give it your wording, or adjust it accordingly depending on how you're feeling in that time. But make sure that you're doing it in the moment, you're present, and you're definitely showing up. Document in stories. Show up in stories. It's a really quick, easy way to show up on social media without taking oodles and oodles of time. And last but not least, use ChatGPT or your AI tool of choice to save you time. Get it to do the grunt work. Don't replace you with it. Make sure you still appear, but get it to do a lot of that heavy lifting. And using the voice notes, the voice to text is so easy. I can do it while I'm out, walking from the office to the car or whatever, and say, hey, I've just had this idea. Help me turn it into a post. Give me some suggestions, or help me write a caption, and then go in and add you into it. Make sure it's your words. It's got your emotion, your personality shining through. That's the most important thing. But remember this last but definitely not least, be present with your family. You can spend more time in your business. You can get that back. You can grow your business at any point. But you know what? I can tell you from experience, probably the biggest mistake I ever made going into business and building my business and putting all this effort into my business was stepping away from my family in many cases and not being present for them. So finding a really great balance when you do have that quality time with them is critical. How do you continuously show up, because you do not want to drop the ball, but how do you also be there for your family and friends as well and make those special memories over the silly season? So from me to you, I want to send you oodles of love. Thank you, of course, for being a part of this podcast this year. If this is your first episode, make sure you hit subscribe. I'd love to keep pouring into you and sowing into you and your amazing business over the next year. But if you've been joining me for a little while, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for journeying with me and being a part of my community. That's it from me on this podcast. It was a quick and easy one, but make sure you take something, put it into action today, because that's the most important thing. And have an incredible end of your year. Bye for now. Thank you for joining us in this episode of the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. If you love listening and you found that this was helpful for your direct selling business, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also check out the recommended video that's popped up on your screen right here. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.